So welcome Revolution at Soundmaker, New York. My name is Stéphane Belmont. I joined Jaeger-LeCoutre in the last millennium, and today I'm the Patrimony Director of Jaeger-LeCoutre. So the exhibit starts with displaying the minute repeater pocket watches. So Jaeger-LeCoutre is known as the watchmaker of watchmakers since it started to focus on improving the precision in crafting parts for the complication, among them the minute repeater, and by the end of the 19th century we already mastered more than 100 different calibers with minute repeater. So we brought some of the most beautiful pocket watches from our museum to show some of the innovation of the time and for some innovation that are still in use today in our wristwatches. So then the exhibit moved to the wristwatches that's at the end of the 20th century, that we miniaturize the minute repeater mechanism so that they could fit in the size of a wristwatch. And the very first wristwatch that we created with minute repeater was a reversal wristwatch. So that was the double challenge of miniaturizing to the wrist and creating the first ever rectangular movements with a minute repeater. And then we renewed with the tradition of having grand complication, so the combination of minute repeaters with other complications like the tourbillon, like the sky chart indication, like the perpetual calendar, and we show the best watches that were made in the Hybris Mechanica collection, and you can discover how the minute repeater is combined actually with other major complications to increase the precision or to display the celestial functions. So what's unique about the sound of Jaeger-LeCoultre is that in the 21st century, we decided to use the modern technology and new materials to improve the quality of the sound in the wristwatch. So in the wristwatch, you have much less space, you have a water-resistant case, so it's very hard to create a beautiful sound as it was in the pocket watch. So we made some major inventions like the crystal gong. So we weld the gongs on the backside of the sapphire crystal, and instead of creating the sound inside the case, we extract the sound that will go through the sapphire crystal, and the sapphire crystal turns into a loudspeaker. So that's a way to create a more beautiful sound in a water-resistant case. But we also design new hammers to strike onto the gongs in order to make the best use of the energy that is available. And there's very little energy in a wristwatch. So instead of transmitting only 10 to 20% of the energy to the gongs with the traditional hammers, we designed the new trebuchet hammers that will bring 80 to 90% of the energy to the gongs, making the volume and the richness of the sound more beautiful. And of course, a lot of other innovations are on exhibit, and you can discover how Jaeger-LeCoultre makes the best use of modern technology, modern materials to further improve the performance and reliability of traditional complications. Yeah, another expression of the sound at Jaeger-LeCoultre is the emblematic Memovox movement, which means the voice of memory. So that's a mechanical alarm that was designed in the 1950s. So very functional, reflecting the spirit of the time, to have something straightforward that was something that useful. And we call it the first mechanical smartwatch, since you could use it to wake you up, to remind you of a meeting, but also to remind you of a diving time. We're creating the very first diving watch with an alarm to remind you to go back to the surface. And the model that is actually creating the biggest surprise in the exhibit is probably the Memovox parking, where on the disc, on the rotating disc to display the time of the alarm, in 1958, We printed a P for the parking, and we printed 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 2 hours to remind you of your parking time. And the advertising of the time would say, let the Memovox remind you of your parking time and not the police. So in the exhibition, there's a piece of art that was created by a Swiss artist, Zimoun, that is actually creating a piece of art always related to the sound. And we invited him to visit our manufacturer, to speak to our watchmakers, but also to experience the calm and serenity of the nature around our manufacture, which is key for our watchmakers. And after the visit, he created a piece of art with very simple materials, just discs made out of metal that will rotate and create a fascinating living artwork that will create a very subtle sound, reminding of the sound maybe of the water, of the wind in the Vallée de Joux, but also showing how with very simple materials you can create a piece of art similar to what we do in watchmaking by using very basic materials that will transform into beautiful watches. Thank you very much and enjoy the exhibit Soundmaker in New York.